Oakland, California is known as one of the top 5 diverse major cities in the country. Nearly every ethnic group is represented, and over 125 languages and dialects are spoken within city boundaries. However, with this much diversity, Oakland has become one of many targets of gentrification in the United States. Although there are many benefits and drawbacks that result from gentrification, the drawbacks that affect small-income stakeholders in the city, such as families of 3 or more who make less than $50,000 per year and small business owners, outweigh the benefits for affluent members of the community. Historically, Oakland is a city that has continuously endured gentrification. According to the Urban Displacement Project, there are several historic examples of institutionalized racism that created the conditions for gentrification, including redlining, a system of real estate investment that began in the 1930s and resulted in people of color being denied access to home loans. During the World War II era, the racial divide between African Americans and white residents became institutionalized as Oakland's African American population grew. This was only the beginning of what gentrification would become today. Today, there are many different reasons why Oakland is and has been sought out as a desirable place to live. For starters, Oakland is the pivot point to many cities like San Francisco, Berkeley, and San Jose, and is at the center of the Bay Area. Modern transit and transportation accessibility, such as the BART system, close driving proximities, the cost of rent, and job availabilities are reasons why affluent stakeholders have become drawn to the city. West Oakland and the MacArthur BART stations are the final transfer stations to San Francisco. Many affluent residents, the majority of whom are white, work in San Francisco and have chosen to live in Oakland due to the lower cost of living. The problem that gentrification has created here is that, as the cost of living continues to increase, and as more and more wealthy white citizens continue to take over the area, the rent for small-income citizens who have lived there for years increases exponentially. Changing demographics are another result of gentrification for small-income communities in Oakland. Although the citizens of Oakland have fought to keep diversity for years, Oakland's Black African American population, which composed most of the city's residents, has declined a drastic 42% since 1980, while the number of Latino, white, and Asian residents has risen, according to the census data. The alteration of ethnicities and races is a direct effect of displacement. Through displacement, small-income minority families have been driven out of the city and have allowed the white affluent members of the community to move in their place. Gentrification has not only affected displacement of families and changing demographics, but also education in small-income parts of the city. Public education in Oakland has hit an all-time low in recent years, through both low enrollment and impaction. Due to this issue, the Oakland Unified School District lost funding in 2011.
Lazier Elementary was one of 5 Oakland schools that was slated to close this year. However, supporters of the school, they were able to get approval to convert it to a charter school and keep it open.
It's a really, really exciting turning point for the history of Lazier, and it's a real testimony to the power of the parents.
More and more schools all over Oakland closed down due to the low funding. The impact of so many school closures has disproportionately fallen upon racial minority students from small-income households. Many students who came from small-income households who previously attended public elementary schools transferred to charter schools to seek better public education. There is no question as to whether or not the streets of Oakland need drastic repairs. The moment that one drives into the city, one immediately begins an obstacle course of potholes.
Here's what Kristen Ayers found and felt when she got behind the wheel.
Neighbors on 92nd Avenue know that sound well. A 2013 study found 60% of Oakland's streets are in poor or fair condition. Anthony McCrae says it's worst in East Oakland.
Road maintenance is often overlooked in cities like Oakland, as there are so many other public works projects that require attention in the city. In this example, we see that on November 4th, 2015, Measure BB, which authorizes an extension and augmentation of the existing transportation sale tax, passed with 70% votes. The measure is set to generate nearly $8 billion over 30 years for essential transportation improvements in every city throughout Alameda County. Through this measure, funds that are being made available to proceed with road maintenance in the city of Oakland for transportation issues are being funneled into wealthier communities. Most of the road repairs that have been done throughout the city are focused in the Oakland Hills, where affluent stakeholders of the community live, as well as areas outside of the flatlands. However, potholes are worse in East Oakland, where the majority of residents are minorities and are small income. Up to $60 million could be used to build Coliseum City while the streets of East Oakland are left in shambles. Although most of Oakland has seen the negative effects of gentrification, the Fruitvale Village Plaza is one of the few places in Oakland where development has been successful without gentrification. Many small income and working class residents across the state are forced to leave urban areas due to rising home and rent prices, while the Fruitvale neighborhood has held on to its existing residents along with its signature Mexican-American culture. Despite the renovations, Fruitvale lost only 1% of its Latino population, less than 1% of its white residents, 4% of its black residents, and gained 6% of new Asian residents. Fruitvale has now housed charter schools, a public library, a pediatric clinic, a senior center, a union office, and a Clínica de la Raza. Oakland, California has endured much change, progress, and development throughout its existence by means of gentrification. With all change comes an array of benefits and drawbacks that affect small income stakeholders more than the affluent stakeholders in the city. Along with the displacement of minority families to make room for affluent white residents, Oakland's racial and ethnic demographics have drastically changed throughout the years. Along with this, the educational system in Oakland has failed many schools who consist of mostly minorities and students from small income households. More and more schools have been closed down due to low funding, which has led to more charter schools that seek better public education. Finally, road maintenance is a seriously neglected issue in Oakland. Although funds are available to proceed with road maintenance, the city manages to funnel funds into wealthier communities while neglecting to fix roads in poorer parts of the city. Gentrification is not a necessary element in the rebuilding of cities. There are many ways that the modifications that have followed gentrification can be avoided. Upon analyzing the many different neighborhoods in Oakland, the Fruitvale area is one of the few places where development has been successful without gentrification. It is a model neighborhood that proves that there can be a gold standard for building in dense urban areas.